So they're no strangers to wildfire in their area, and as well as we are. So this is Wildfire Preparedness Week, and while we haven't seen major fires happening in California yet, we know that they are coming, okay? So is your family ready for it? Hedy Jalon is the executive director of the California Fire Safe Council, joining us live from LA, explaining how CFSC and CAL FIRE are helping our areas get ready for the inevitable here. Hedy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So our first question is, last year we saw unprecedented fire conditions across our state, according to CAL FIRE. I mean, these fires burned more than 2.5 million acres last year, destroyed 3,600 structures. What do we learn from the Dixie, the Can Peak Complex, the Caldor fires, just to name a few fires, that could help us going into summer of 2022?
Yeah, so this year, something that we have on our side is more resources, and we're thrilled to see that state and federal legislatures have provided more funding and more resources to conduct more wildfire mitigation and prevention projects that are so needed across the state. So with those resources, as we're able to implement these projects across the state, we'll eventually start to see the positive impact from continuing these projects.
Absolutely. I know resources last year, that was the struggle for CAL FIRE, trying to get people to fight these fires that were just incredibly huge. Now, following California's driest first quarter ever recorded this year, the CFC has committed more than $9.8 million for multiple grant funding projects to increase community wildfire risk reduction and resiliency. Can we be more specific as to what that money is going towards and how it will help our counties in need?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, we're a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We've been around for over 2 decades, and we provide grant funding to over 300 local fire safe councils, resource conservation districts, fire agencies, nonprofit organizations, and other groups across the state to conduct wildfire mitigation and prevention projects. We also provide direct resources and assistance to ensure that our grantees and these groups are educated and successful in implementing the projects across the state. And so what we're doing is we're providing grant funding across the state to these groups to conduct these vital wildfire mitigation projects, such as our wildfire evacuation route planning and development grant program, our defensible space program. We have a few partnerships with some of the utilities across the state to provide grant funding to groups across the state for capacity building and other wildfire mitigation and prevention projects as well. We expect the lifetime of these projects will occur over the course of a couple years. So it might be some time before we physically start to see the impact of these projects at this scale.
Right, right. And of course, home preparedness is critical at this time. I think people need to understand, have a route, planned out, have your kit planned at home, your fire kit planned at home, and really just take into consideration that wildfires happen everywhere in California, right?
Absolutely. We're at a point where, regardless of where you live, if you're in a high fire severity zone, or you live in an urban center.
Hedy, I'm so sorry to cut you off. We're running out of time, but we do appreciate your time and taking time to break down what exactly you guys have planned for us to prepare us for wildfire season. This is something very serious we do need to talk about with our families. Thank you so much for joining us from all the way in LA.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. 9:49 is your time right now. We'll send things over to Adam talking about our weather, because we are seeing our warmer temperatures here soon.
Right. Temperatures are warming up today, and we feel the peak of the heat